Hi everyone, welcome to Character Draw, where I draw my OCs and talk about them. Today I am drawing Morella Knight from Project Dollface. Full disclosure, my art is slightly messy and I make a lot of mistakes, so please bear with me. To give you a little context, Morella is a timid 18-year-old girl who at first doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself. On the day of her graduation, she gets forced into a magical world in a not-so-magical way. I mean, there is nothing pleasant about being captured by a creepy old woman with a wide mouth than suddenly waking up as a literal doll hybrid, especially with ribbons growing out of one's skin at stressful situations. To make matters worse, she accidentally borrows a wrathful, vain, and easily jealous enchantress's staff, which she doesn't know how to use. She runs away and strikes a deal with a somewhat chaotic mad scientist named Basil to take her home, in exchange for the borrowed staff, which, unfortunately for Morella and Basil, proved to be no easy task. She gains a lot of enemies, and she gains some friends too. Little by little, becomes more than she ever thought she would be. That was a mouthful, huh? I would like to talk a little about her inspiration. You will notice this with my work, it's pretty obvious, but I love the human coming into another world trope. With Alice, Dorothy, Coraline, Miguel, Pomni, I could go on and on. There is just something so irresistible about the idea of escape. I based her design loosely on Sally. Now, originally, I was going to have a lot of square patches on her arms, neck, and legs, until I realized how painful it was going to be to draw her over and over. She still has patches, they just cover a lot more ground. There is just something I did because I wanted to do something original, sort of. I saw a similar look off of Pinterest. For her main wardrobe, I wanted to go for a vintage look. In the story, she often wears a button-up white shirt, a pleated red skirt, striped tights, and boots. I was partially inspired by school uniforms. The funny thing is, her school doesn't have uniforms. I just wanted to reflect her character just a little bit. She is a tad scholarly. She is better at receiving information about books than being sophisticated and suave. By the red skirt, she gets embarrassed easily. Oftentimes that comes from daydreaming at an inopportune moment, social blunders, and being a little clumsy. Which reminds me, I also took inspiration from the Patchwork Girl of Oz. Many of you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I'd highly suggest looking it up. The character is fascinating. The next thing I wanted to talk about is her name. Around the time I was trying to figure out a name in my head, I bought a book that had a collection of short stories by Edgar Allan Poe. I read the short story Morella. It was about a scholarly woman who dies giving birth to a child that has an uncanny resemblance to her. I would recommend reading it if you're into gothic fiction. Anyways, I don't know why, but the name Morella got stuck in my head, so I named her Morella. I hope Mr. Poe won't mind. I feel like it fits her in some way, with her last name being Knight. It just seemed like a regal last name. For some 5 fun facts about her, her favorite food is pizza, especially if it's homemade. She has intense stage fright. She loves to draw and decorate cakes, and ironically, she's afraid of needles. Now, this is my first video. Sorry, I have to add this in, but fun fact, the average person says about 750 words per 5 minutes, and I've always been a slow talker, so yeah, I might have written a little less than that. So yeah, there's a lot of cuts in here. There were a lot of pauses and a lot of repeated words. Sorry. So There you have it, folks. Morella Knight. Ain't she a doll? I'm sorry about the pun. I will be drawing her again, and more fascinating characters. I am really hoping to publish her story one day. Thank you, and have a nice day.